Good afternoon and good evening wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. Now, with that said, right off at the bat here, with 45 seconds in, this particular video is about the conscious carbon nanites that are coming in with 3i Atlas. That is what they're saying is the intelligent life that's coming from another galaxy, or at least another part of this galaxy for sure. Now, when I was researching this and I watched it on the news yesterday and I'm listening, wait just a minute. Let me put this phone down. I'm like, wait just a minute. Now, you trying to tell me that all the scientists are talking about the big object coming in, Atlas, right? And that, it's coming in nose first and it's kind of lighting up the sky with stuff, right? And I've got my theory on that and I'll present it in a bit. But at the moment, what I'm trying to explain is they are talking about that this intelligent life from another place is like, wait a minute, what are they talking about? They literally said that it's carbon nanites in the universe that they're communicating with. That's the alien source of information, because this object is coming in and it is showing itself with the brunt of the gases that it's presenting, 31 Atlas or 30i Atlas. It's coming in, so it's pushing stuff and it's making a big bow, like on a ship. A big bow is pushing against space. Now, I've said that there's a lot of cosmic goo in space for years, and I've just called it cosmic goo. And now, apparently, for a while now, I'm out of the loop. That cosmic goo, the big time scientists are calling it, like Avi Loeb, he's calling it, get this, that's the secret stuff they want to talk about or talk to. How do you talk to a carbon nanite consciousness? That is what they're discussing, believe it or not. I was shocked. So here I am like, yeah, okay. So you could literally talk to the carbon in the universe. That's how they feel. I don't know where they got this idea from. But that the carbon is sentient and the carbon has a consciousness. So they're going to accept the new consciousness that comes in with this object. Now, they're not what they're discussing on the low end of this, and people are misunderstanding it and taking it to a higher level. Okay. meaning that, they're Avi Loeb and some of these people are ready to start communicating with their consciousness, with the carbon nanites that are associated with this thing. Pay attention. They're going to use their consciousness to communicate with the carbon nanites that are coming in from way out there beyond outer space, coming in with this object. They don't mean necessarily that they're people, okay? They're discussing having conversation using consciousness alone. Honest to God, I'm like, you gotta be kidding. Now, not that I don't think that, that kind of thing couldn't work or should work, or consciousness and connected to the universe, because Lord have mercy, I say in every one of my videos, I accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. Where are you going to get it? Well, it's out there in the quantum, with the quantum field. Well, apparently, the quantum all out there in space, space is the quantum field, by the way. It's everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. It's everywhere, it's everywhere, it's everywhere. So space has a lot of stuff in it. Apparently, they're calling it carbon conscious nanites. Who is that in there? Oh, Chloe, of course. How you doing? Oh, Chloe, I found this stuff out the last couple days. Oh, Chloe, did you see my other video I did just a few minutes ago? Hey, Sheila. Did y'all feel we got some extreme cosmic rays the other day? I mean, extreme. And my body's acting weird. I'm seeing stuff, and I mean, something went on the other day, and ever since then, I got my fingers are acting weird. I mean, it's just like boom, all on that day, everything has changed from that point on down here, and fumbling and doing this, it's weird. So if you have had any kind of stuff like that, there's a video out there that you can go and at least put in your comments. Okay, back to this one. All right. So 3i Atlas is coming in, and it's pushing its way. It's pushing its way into the universe, it's already in our solar system. Okay. It's already past Jupiter. All right. So if you were on Jupiter, you would have watched it go by. But it's taken a dip under the solar system, basically. And so it's not coming anywhere near anything, and it's going to be millions of miles away when it gets close to Mars in October. So interesting things, interesting times. And wow, in talking with it, it's that now these folks are getting ready to have communication with this alien entity. All right. And I'm like, who the fudge is the alien entity? The alien entity are the carbon nanites coming from that section of space. Hey, Sheila, how you doing? Carbon nanites. They're going to have a chat with their consciousness, because apparently, and I've been out of touch for a while, apparently the cosmic goo in the universe is filled with these nanite particles. They're carbon nanite particles all over the place. Okay, I submit that what that rock is doing coming into our solar system and why it's lighting things up and the plasma goes crazy is simply because um, whatever the object is, if it's a rock and it's going really fast, then it's agitating the water. If you could think of it as running through water, it's agitating whatever it's going through, right? Blah, 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 whatever it's doing, it's agitating those nanites as it goes through. Okay. Very basic. Understand, the nanites are all out there and the thing comes through and they buzz and they light up and you can see them. Okay. For me, that's not hard at all to believe or explain, right? They haven't quite gone there yet, but I get it, and it would explain a lot if they would admit it. But but no, now they're talking about that those tiny little itty bitty parts, those nanites, the nanites can communicate with our consciousness. Now, does that mean that bitch can get in our ear and go talk to us, or, what does that mean? Consciousness. Everything I looked up and around, it was like, no, it's the universe is made up of this carbon consciousness, the carbon nanites. So they're so tiny you can't see them, and we run around and bump into them. We are even breathing them in. They're all screaming as they go in. But so see, my fingers just went loose right then. I had a cigarette I was moseying around with. I know I'm supposed to quit. And I was like holding on to this, rolling it around, debating on whether I was going to smoke it. And my fingers threw this cigarette in my lap. You know, are that if that radiation that hit the East Coast, and it did, it's not that we didn't get it, okay? Everybody on the East Coast got that thing, all right? So every single one of us, in one way or another, was affected by what that galactic storm brought us. What it brought us was a bunch of, pay attention, cosmic carbon conscious nanites. They just threw all their cousins at us all at once. Like, here we come, boom, pow, ooh, holy crap in a bag. And everybody across the eastern United States got smacked by nanites. And you say, Dave, now that's that can't be true. Well, then what came down and that registered such a high scale on all of the instruments? It was really powerful. The whole eastern United States lit up, so to speak, even though the color on the map was dark. We got creamed. How do we communicate with a carbon nanite? I know the answer is with our consciousness. Okay, but but if we are, they're waiting for the alien space thing to come in because they know it's bringing in carbon nanites from somewhere else other than our solar system. That's the alien they want to talk to. Honestly, really, that's what they're waiting for. watched it, read it, and that's what they're waiting for. Now, I want to know, okay, wait for it. But how in the hell are you going to communicate with almost subatomic particles, right? Nanites. Is it 20? Ooh, yes. Well, it's a little past, but I was trying to get here at 420 and I was a little late, but here we are. So, yes, Miss Sheila, uh, I'd be happy to. Let's see. Where's my favorite pipe got broke, so I've had to move to another one. But anyway, so happy 20, my friends. And so they're waiting on this intelligent life to come into our solar system, which it is. It's already arrived. So, but in listening to Avi Loeb, he's like, oh, this sentience and the thing and the da 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 da, and listen more. And I'm like, what is he talking about? And then the guy last night with the weather pattern thing, space weather, and like this is this and going along and blah blah blah. Blah, blah, blah. Well, wait a minute, they're talking about the cosmic consciousness. They're talking about cosmic consciousness coming from a different galaxy, possibly. Um, it's got to come from a different part of space. That's like obvious, you know. But are there people in this thing? Don't know. But when I broke it down, they're absolutely waiting on, I can't believe it, the carbon nanite consciousness. Now, I'm assuming Ask makes you and me, right? How are they going to talk to the nanites? They specifically they believe that the consciousness of the universe is in these carbon nanites. So apparently they talked to all the carbon nanites in our solar system, and they're looking for a new flavor of jam that's coming into our solar system. And they're like, whoa, look, there's a new place to come and hang out, because if you're a different kind of jam, you get to slide with the grape or slide with the strawberry or slide with the cherry, and it's like, ooh, get to mix up a little bit. So, but in space things, they're actively wanting to talk to these folks. Okay, how you going to do it? Do you have like a nanite radio that you built with little nanite tubes in it with little nanite switches and knobs? You know, are you going to create a little nanite? And the only way to look at it is with a super duper microscope. So it's like it's like the little pollutions. The little people with Gulliver's Travels. So they were big enough you didn't need a microscope or even a magnifying glass, but no, these we're talking about nanites. Nanites with consciousness. Now, my question is that I haven't found out yet, but do they believe in single units of awareness? In other words, there's a gazillion trillion, right here in my house and around me. So are those programmed in any way? What kind of information do these nanite, things have? Because apparently some of these scientists have been talking to them. All right. Now I'm going to do some more. Obviously, I'm going to do some more study on this. But as a shaman in training, and as having worked with meditation and different things, and it's like I'm talking to the universe. I feel it. I feel like I'm talking to the creator. I feel like there are times when I get other messages and I feel like they're from my angel family because nothing that I've gotten from them has ever been bad, right? So I've been getting information from, out there from the angels, that I call it. I'm getting information from my own interpretation of life, which, wait a minute, does that mean that I have had extreme conversation with the carbon nanites here? Because if I'm doing, I hate to use the word perform, if I'm performing a ceremony where I light a candle, I start to drum, that's that's the start of a ceremony, right? But if I do that right there, the carbon nanites should be able to see me, right? If they're floating all around in front of me, and I'm trying to be respectful, I don't want to bump into any of them, right? No sudden movements, let the flow go. And but that, here I am doing a very slow, solemn um ceremony, and all around me are carbon nanites. Now, are they like watching? Are any of them participating? Because I'm sure I'm bumping into some. I bet you I swallowed a whole parcel of these things. So, if Abilob wants to talk to the consciousness, it's hard for me to believe. The consciousness of the carbon nanites coming in from another portion of the universe. Talking to carbon nanites. Is that how you prove that there's life out there? Now, I'm not trying to pick on these folks. I'm not, okay? But they have not explained what they're talking about, all right? And some of these guys who interview Avi Loeb and all these other folks, I want them to ask some serious question. What are you talking about when you're talking about meeting an extraterrestrial, and how they're waiting on that consciousness coming. They're waiting on it coming in, right? So they know it, they expect it. And so what's the question you're going to ask it? And why aren't you telling people that you're going to talk to a gas? I mean, because carbon's floating around, at the moment. And so, and we're breathing in the carbon at the moment. When we eat, it's carbon based. All of this stuff is, carbon based. because it's made from the earth. It's from the earth. It's if it's from the earth, it's carbon based. You know, plants and rocks and stuff, carbon based. So that means the universe is carbon based, which I can see, but I'm having a little trouble about talking to the consciousness. Is there a group of the consciousness that is like the brain? I'm not trying to be mean or nasty about this. Is there a part of this consciousness that is the brain that does the talking and the interviewing is the wrong way, interaction with people, you know? So there's this head that just appears out of nowhere. And hello, how are you? I am from I am from the mist. I am from, you know. Well, wait a minute. Who are you? I am carbon. I am made up of carbon nanites. Well, that's groovy. What is groovy? Well, never mind. Just hang out there. You know, so now there's this humongous all around us in space. They believe that carbon nanites make up the universe. And so we're talking to some of their relatives right here. How are you, Harry? I'm not. My name ain't Harry. No, but you are Harry. Oh, okay. That's a given. All right. So now what? So do we talk to a some type of I hate to use the word entity, but do we end up talking to a grouping of these nanites, you know, that will appear and say, hello, how are you? Is it me you're looking for? Which, in a way, that's true. Is it me we're looking for? The consciousness, honest to God, the consciousness of the carbon nanites. You know, I do science fiction and I've studied a bunch of stuff, but I would never in my life would I have believed that I would say that the universe is made up of carbon nanites. And here's the thing now, they haven't said this, I'm saying this. If they're wait, let me back up. If they're saying that we can talk to this carbon nanites, okay, they're going to talk to them, waiting on them, right? So, well, doesn't that mean that we can listen in, or that we can talk to the carbon nanites ourselves? Or, you know, or is there a special microphone you got to use to talk to them? Or what is that overall deal with these folks, right? So they're going to swarm up and go over and fix something. Somebody gets shot or somebody gets, you know, their arm cut. Just carbon nanites from the air form around the cut and go down the cut and basically sew it up and clean it out. And you know, because of the carbon nanites, if they're nanites, it means that they're moving around. They're not just stuck. They can move around. So why can't those nanites come down here? Because I got my arm cut, fix my arm for me, you know? And it just comes out of the air. Now, there have been a lot of people say that there's enough energy in the air around us, you know, to blow up something. I don't want to blow up anything. But I mean, the amount of energy that it possesses would make a huge hole in the dirt. Why would I do that? You know, still. Um, but so what it is, what it has brought us somehow in the discussion of this, and I don't know, but I'm gonna, do a little digging, um, and find out where the awareness of this, when did they start talking or seeing that carbon nanites in in the air, really, these carbon nanites uh, would serve a purpose, or that just because there's carbon in the air. And what are these brainless dickheads trying to do? They're trying to get rid of carbon dioxide when it seems that the whole universe is made of this shit. Literally, then that means that a fart smell never ever goes away. It just floats in different particles throughout the universe. Okie doke. But that's kind of groovy in and of itself. But so um, we've got farts that'll last forever because there's carbon in the farts, and they will become part of the carbon nanites around us. So as we sit here, cut one out, and that thing's got a cloud, man, and it comes up and it starts to disperse, and it's like, oh God Almighty, oh, disperse, woo, moving around. But so the carbon nanites in the air are already locked on the the fumes of your fart. What do you mean? Well, yeah, I mean, they can smell them too. Them tiny little, um, carbon nanites, dangling out in the air. Because here's my thing. I have often wondered back as a child, something that smells lingers and then dissipates. And sometimes somebody will cut one and it'll be there, it'll be real strong. And in a minute, it's like, I don't smell nothing. Now, where did the fart go? Where did the smell of the fart go? You're in a small room. It's only been a minute and a half. You should still be able to smell that fart, but it's gone. Where did it go? There ain't a bunch of fans and stuff and things in the ceiling. No, none of that. Where did the fart go? And I'm thinking that the fart was my whole contention is things are absorbed. They're absorbed by the air. So in a way, I would be right in that these nanites in the air, these carbon based, they're like little truck drivers, so they can, ooh, there's some smell over there, and they go out and get the smell and drag it in. And by bringing it into themselves, they've sort of consumed it in a way. Is the way I was picturing it anyway. Um, Best case scenario, maybe, but to the point that there's the stank, and but that the reason that the smell didn't last very long is that the um, the charged particles of the carbon has reacted with the stank differently than it has dealt with other stanks. And so that all of a sudden now you go like this and you can't smell a fart. I mean, within minutes, it's gone. And I mean, it was like it burnt your eyes when you smelt it, right? So, but to my point about this, how can these things exist at the same time? And my simple proposal is this, it's very simple. If you're in some rooms, some house, something that there's a feeling like if you come to my house, there are folks who say, man, your house feels good with all the crystals and things and all the windows and stuff. And so they're like, wow, this is cool. Okay, so that's their impression, right? So somebody else goes in the neighbor's house where it's all just a regular house. The living room's got a couch and a chair and a fireplace over there, and that's the front room. It's like typical. Mine is not typical, right? So you get a different feeling in my house the different feeling than you would get with my neighbor's house. I'm not comparing, but sort of. And the reason I say that is because the energy in the house of my neighbor is going to be different than the energy in my house down here. And so a fart down here might just not even get smelt. Where up there in the closed circuit front room setting, you cut one, you're going to own it. And so I believe that different settings would determine how the nanites would react and how fast they would gobble up the smell. Okay. So, but that's just a theory. But why do some smells linger and other smells don't? And how do they make a smell linger? You know, oh, you got a brand new air freshener, and you want it to linger. Do you really? I mean, who want to smell it over there? And ooh, I want to smell it over there. And you see back there, ooh, I want to smell some back there. Okay, but here's this tiny little thing. How are you going to get that thing to emit smell to all these other locations when all I'm going to do is just hang it up here? It's going to migrate out to all these other places. How does it migrate out? Well, sometimes, got a ceiling fan on, got the air conditioner back pushing air across the room. I Okay, the smell of things get spread around. Okay, but the air conditioner ain't on because it's cold enough outside. There's a little bit of a fire in the pit, um, but all it's doing is smoldering. A fan ain't on at all, and so you're sitting here in almost a perfectly still room. So how come somebody that walks in the house over yonder that's 25 feet away can smell the air freshener that's hanging over here? Wow, that air freshener sure smells good. How in the hell can you smell that over there? I didn't spread the smell. But now, if we have carbon nanites that are our building block, that, those nanites could carry the smell over there. And I was looking in the store yesterday, actually, um, and I was looking at the different air things that go in the car, right? And I was looking at this one and blah blah, this one here, and I was like, as I'm looking and reading on the backs and stuff, it's like, you know, scientists have worked hard. It said on one package, scientists have worked hard to be able to um, pick a chemical or whatever so that our fragrance will spread all about the room. And that it took scientists a long time to achieve. And I get it. How do you spread the smell? How do but they have learned how to spread the smell with their secret weapon on their little, thingy. Good for them. I mean it. But still, what did they do? So what if, here's a weird one, what if they've got a telephone to these nanites? And what if, now, the what if might be that in the nanites themselves, there are nanites with master commands, where all the other nanites don't have the master command, but only one nanite is the master nanite. So you talk to that one, ding, get things right, and then it spreads. Okay. So could you call up the nanite and say, hey, anytime you smell this grape jelly, now I'm talking to the nanites now, talking to them, carbon nanites, and they're swimming around, they're walking, they're jogging, whatever they're doing, but them nanites, and apparently they're there because they got cameras that go down that part to be. That's how they know they're nanites, right? So I can't make this up, and they're talking straight because they're the ones that brought it up. So now, can I become, using my own brain and that what I understand as a shaman in training, that if you want to learn how to connect with the universe, now if I'm connecting with the universe, am I connecting with the nanites? Is if I'm sending prayers to the universe, which I do, am I sending prayers to the nanites? I mean, like, pay attention. Well, nothing exists out there. Well, yes, it does. The universe is full of carbon nanites. You just admitted to it. So pay attention. All right. So for us, have they said anything? No. Now, if this has been going on for a long time and that these, the nanites are everywhere, I understand. So the nanites are everywhere, the carbon ones. And mankind was trying to get rid of carbon, right? Oh, you can buy carbon over here, and that means they can put it over there, and they're going to grow a bunch of trees to offset the carbon. What? Trees need carbon to grow. They breathe it in. And but now, and which is kind of interesting because I'd love to sit down beside, trees and meditate with a tree. And there have been several trees over the years that have just been unbelievable to lean up against and become a part of the tree. It, ooh, talk about a trip. And I didn't need no mushrooms or nothing, but I mean, the tree just brings you right in and you melt into the tree. And if you do it right, boy, howdy, you can go right up on into the leaves. So there is no trick But the trick is you got to be patient and you got to mean it. The tree knows if you're being honest or not. So, oh, I'm going to meditate with the tree. And I keep thinking about, Joni over there, blah, blah. And you ain't meditating, stop it. But the tree can tell if you're serious, right? So, but anyway, what's that got to do with all this stuff right now? Well, we're getting energy from another solar system, meaning where this 13i atlas is coming in, it's coming from a different part of space that is actually a different solar system. You say, well, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Just a minute. I'm looking for something round. There's something. Let's see how I can do this. There's a big something and a small something. All right, I don't see anything else. Okay, let me see if I can try to explain. So, this is our entire solar system. That ball at the end of the stick represents our entire solar system. The Oort cloud, everything, because it's all moving together. That is our solar system. And our solar system is sitting on the edge of a galaxy with other solar systems. Okay. So this thing you can't see, but I'm spinning it around. And so our whole solar system spinning around, everything's groovy, nothing seems to be going on. But as it travels with the galaxy through space, now all of a sudden, there's this other thing that's coming in from the side. Now it has come from somewhere out yonder. All right. And it's coming in to guess where? To our solar system. So that makes this white ball, it makes this white ball the intruder, if you will. It also, this is the alien, this white ball, right? It's a rock. It's pushing plasma in front of it. I think that if it's pushing plasma in front of it, it's probably trying to protect itself. And therefore, there might be people in it who or beings in it. And if so, they're coming from another part of our universe. We're still in the galaxy. All right. We're still moving around in the galaxy. Our whole solar system is right here, neatly packaged. And this thing is coming from somewhere other between solar systems, in our galaxy. So the white one here, is coming in and it's going to duck under and come back around and haul butt out. Okay. But the alien of it is that it is coming from way beyond our solar system. It's coming, possibly got slung out into the open, galaxy, because here's a solar system here, and then there's a solar system over here. And so solar system over here. All right. This one here, the solar system, and then here's the rock that has been slung out from over here and travels and now is coming to our solar system, right? And it's here. So that rock has come from um, international space. It's like it crossed a vast ocean, like the Atlantic, to get here. It's from a totally different continent. It might have spun around with the solar system and, just hung out, and something happened one day and it got bumped out. And by getting bumped out, it traveled the distance, like the Atlantic Ocean. It traveled the distance through open space that apparently is filled with with nanites. So that wherever we turn, whatever we look at, whatever we speak of, there are these carbon nanites right there. We're being watched by carbon nanites right now. Sitting here in my little hovel here in South Georgia, I'm being monitored by these little nanites. Now, there are times when it feels like something's crawling on me. Maybe something really is crawling on me. I look down, and earlier today, there was something that felt like there was somebody had a needle, a, a big needle and a sharp one. But because it felt like it went in about yay deep, at least, in my leg. And I mean, I was sitting here screaming, bloody murder, what the hell is this? Never figured it out. And it took about 2 or 3 minutes and it eased off. But SOB, it hurt. So where did that come from? You know? Do I have little nanites running all around on me? And they're, and they can wreak havoc if they want to, or that they're charged to do something, to help produce me to do something, right? Punch me, tickle me, goose me, do something for me to do whatever's on the list, right? But anyway, so this idea that the new energy that they understand, okay, is this white thing here that got shoved out of another solar system, not galaxy. Because here we are again. This is all of us. And this thing here is the newbie. We're still in the galaxy. We're still in the Milky Way galaxy. We haven't left the Milky Way galaxy. Okay. We're still swinging around with the Milky Way. But this Jonesy here got slung out of another solar system, like our solar system threw it somewhere. That's what the difference is. So this new entry into our solar system is going to be interesting. So, but be careful when listening to these folks, because they can double speak in a heartbeat. I'm telling you, just straight in plain language, using a couple of really bad tools to explain myself. But they'll go, but well, the solar system is this is come from another place, and it's got this energy, and we're going to connect to it, and we're going to. How are you going to connect to the consciousness? It apparently they got a trick. Now, I'm wondering if the trick happens to be folks working for the far side. In other words, people who have been trained to use um, their abilities um, on the astral projection, and so they've had good reaction. They've had practice, and they've done things, and so um, and that's very important. Um, so can that person go into a a cosmic state and then talk to the carbon nanites specifically? I need a group of you right here. You know, can you make a pile with yourselves? And if they can, they go and make a pile. Whatever, right? Can you actually speak to those entities? Now, apparently, they can hear me talk right now. They hear what I'm talking about, you know? So, what if the story, how about this one? What if the story of the cobbler, the guy who made shoes, fixed shoes, and that, folks somehow one would always disappear. And they blamed it on the little people, and it was. But after a while, the little people are like, yeah, this is getting kind of boring. They know we're going to do it. So they set traps for us, and it used to be fun, and now it's harrowing. And so the little people, kind of backed off of, fixing any shoes for anybody, um, because of the bad, sort of the bad juju between, the king and them and all that. But anyway, but they found this cobbler who was true to his work, and he was, bad eyesight, and, um, he's got arthritis in his hands, and he can barely hold his hammer and so forth. And so he's working away and singing an old song, you know, speaking of runes and magic and things, and so the old man sings, "If I hear, we rise here," and you know, all of a sudden, you know, there are these little people that he can't see because he was that way. They'd look right at him and he couldn't see them. So he's just working along and he's doing his job and he's working as hard as he can because when you're when your arthritis acts up, you don't really work so fast. You hold on to something like real weird because it's the only way you can grab it. I mean, it's strange, right? So you're doing that. He's doing that, right? So he's working on the shoes and he's doing what he's duty and he's making what he needs to make. And then he takes a deep breath and leans back on the workbench and just takes a nap right there. Now, during that short nap, which he's allowed to take because he's old, and them siestas help him a lot. And so he's sitting in his chair and his hands are folded, and the little folks have already gone crazy. they've already, picked up scraps off the floor, and they've already moved some things around to make it more tidy. They've already got out their hammers and saw some things that, a strap was loose and bang, 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 and they put it back down. And this over here didn't have a strap and needed a strap. So they pull a strap off of the wall there and lace it up and do the thing. And so there's about 10 of them, and they're just working around and doing and not making any noise in any way. Now he's up here minding his own business, looking down, and he's got a feeling something's going on, but he don't know what. He's looking around, and down on the floor it looks cleaner for some reason. Where's that scrap of leather that was down there? Hell, that scrap of leather had been down there for a month. Where'd it go? Son of a biscuit eater, you know? So now it's starting to worry him. And then one of the master of them says, we gotta tell him. We gotta tell him, you know? And so what they did, now you say, well, that's a children's story. Yeah, but right now, these scientists are saying that stuff here in the room, carbon flying around, has a consciousness. It can think, okay? It has a consciousness, and it has a consciousness, and apparently they've been trying to talk to this, the carbon in any form, the carbon. Trees need carbon to grow. Lots of things need carbon to grow. The earth is made out of carbon, and things, right? So, yeah, carbon is like, oh, yeah, but so I'm looking at the screen here, all right? And between the screen and my nose, there's a distance of about 12 inches, all right? A little longer because they're leaned back, but come on, Pop. But so there are a bunch of particles, carbon particles, between me and the camera. And so these carbon particles, they're nanites. So can I wave at them and say, hey, y'all, you know, I'm Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I just want to say hi, and I'm waving at you and hope I ain't killed none of you by moving my hand, right? Because they're nanites. They're tiny little things, and that they really exist because they say they do. Carbon nanites have consciousness, like you and me. Well, me, I can't talk for you, and I don't mean that rudely. But so then what's next? Do we teach each other how to talk to the carbon? Now, this is how I feel about the situation, okay? Here's the universe all around us. The distance between me and the camera, there's a gazillion universes in this space. It's all carbon based. So I'm going to be nice to these things and, here and in the house. And here's my thing about being a shaman in training. As a shaman in training, you're taught to to accept that which is all around us. Okay. What do you mean, Hawkeye? Well, I was told and I believed and I understood it before I started my training, and it was accepted as good in that, I could feel that the whole world um, you know, had this cosmic goo. That I've said it before that we were swimming in cosmic goo or walking or whatever, but it, oh, there's Froggy. But that it was real. Um, that's why we could, close our eyes or not, but close our eyes and meditate for a moment and say, I want to send a healing message to someone um, who got hurt in the storm. He actually got hit by cars that went around, and it was raining so hard he bumped into the car and knocked him down. But he needs a prayer, and um, okay, so but that's what I was doing. All right, I'm thinking about this person, and I want to send them prayer. Now, here's my thing: if 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 um if the carbon can hear us and we make a prayer, can it daisy chain through the nanites to a specific determination? Like I'm thinking, I know my brothers, I'm making this up, but in this scenario, my brother is sick in a bed, and I know that he's at my sister's house, and I know what the room looks like, so I can really give the nanites good information as to where to haul ass to, right? So it's like, okay, nanites, here we go. It's 245 Dawson Street, you know? Boom, bow, out they go. The nanites, right? Do we see them leave? Well, they're really small. Well, but they're nanites from here between you and me. We asked the nanites in this area to participate in this. They agreed. Um, and so there was um, there was a leader, for this group over here, and they switched leaders around. They said so, but at this time they had their leaders, and they knew what to do, and just give them an order, and they'd be gone. So it's like, so we said, sending a prayer to help it gets well, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Boom, and supposedly now, off them little nanites flew. Or did they just bump into the guy next to him and 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 so and it starts out like this is what kicks it off, but boom, 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 and it goes on down the line because all these carbon molecules, nanites, are linked together. So they bump into each other and travel all the way down really fast to where they're supposed to go or where you have directed those nanites to go. You've instructed them to go over there. Then when it gets there, then maybe do something. But you've instructed the nanites, go over there. So, in communicating all these things, there's lots of other instructions going on just right here. The TV's on, I've got my legs down here, the fan's on, Tucker's over there. There's things around, blah, 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 and in the house. So, um, but I want to send a group of nanites to something as a prayer. Can it be done? How do we get in touch with? It's almost like trying to get in touch with the thing that must not be named, you know. And it's like, nah, we need to catch up. If these folks say that carbon nanites have a consciousness, all carbon nanites have consciousness. This new thing that entered our solar system brought stuff from another solar system. Maybe another galaxy, but at least another solar system. And so the things that we would see on this big rock, and as it goes by, we're going to be able to see it better. But one reason we haven't been able to get a good picture is because it's like a train. You're trying to stand in front of a train 1,000 miles away. It's coming at you. It's coming at you. It's a long stretch of straight, but that train is coming at you, and you got your camera, and you're waiting, and you're taking zoom pictures of the train coming. But as that train picks up speed coming at you, when you go to try to take pictures of it, they come out blurry. And you go, why is that? And so you step off the track and you look at the engine, you got it perfectly set in your lens, and you go click and it comes out blurry. What the hell? It's because of the speed of the train, right? So the speed of this thing coming in, all right, and where the telescopes are located, they're trying to take a picture of something that's flying by. And it's like, okay, got my camera ready. And then all of a sudden an F-15 flies across my view. Go ahead, take that picture, click. He's already gone, right? You start taking pictures before the jet swoops down in front of the crowd, and then maybe you get a picture, right? So that's sort of what's going on right now. So this thing coming in is bringing elements from the other solar system from whence it came, okay? So yeah, big rock, okay? Now, in listening to these folks, and I know they keep changing it around. I think they keep changing it around just so they can keep general people kind of upset about it. There's aliens in there, maybe. But what is alien to us is the fact that that rocky object has brought consciousness from another part of the galaxy. Think about that now. This rock's coming in, boom, right into it's already in our solar system. It's coming in, and it has it's got carbon from another solar system. It's got carbon nanites from another place, from another physical place, right? So are those nanites different? Are those nanites on the rock want to talk to the nanites over here in this neighborhood? Well, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Well, if it has consciousness, which they're saying the carbon does have, so the carbon has consciousness, but it's coming from Thomasville, right? And I'm sitting here in Meggs. So it's like, yeah, well, but it's good over there and it looks good and it flies around good. But when you start getting out here to the country, then things change. You know, you don't have the same support. There's, traffic's less, and how. So, but you're still a carbon atom, right? Apparently, you can still talk at any time to who? So I guess anybody that's tripping. Now I mention this because I have tripped many times. Okay, it's been a long time ago. But in my thinking about the tripping thing, um, knowing that there are folks out there that do ayahuasca and mushrooms and such, I did a bunch of mushrooms. They're lovely. Okay, just don't take too many. Just make a good dose and take that. Um, we dried up the mushrooms to the point where we didn't turn it into a powder, but we could just take the mushrooms and roll them easy in our hands until they turned into pieces. And then we knew that if we wanted to get high of a certain type, then you took your then you took a spoon and you put it down in that mixture and took one or two. And if you wanted to have a really good day, you took three spoonfuls. And that's how you got it down. But in order to see some of this stuff, I'm not taking mushrooms. And the carbon in the air and whatever that was that hit the earth the other day, golly, I I can't explain it, but something's changed. I'm not bragging or complaining, but something has changed. So don't know what, don't know how, but everybody on the East Coast was hit by it. And now it was hit by it, which means that every single carbon atom was hit by it also. All right. So that means that big thing, uh, um, radiation thing the other day that came in and hit us hard. It hit us hard now, let me tell you. Um, that having it's I'm sitting here being stupefied. It's by having the wherewithal to be able to speak to carbon nanites. I mean, I can speak to them. Hi, y'all, right now, you know, but I don't hear their tiny little voices. Now, if this is true with the nanites around us, all around us, carbon nanites, then the idea that it's true that we can just scoop up a whole bunch of atmosphere and say, there's enough energy right here, there's enough stuff right here. I got everything I need, which would be true under certain elements, right? So now what are we going to do? Well, we got to do something. And so I say that from a perspective of a shaman in training, okay, we learn to accept things around us. We learn to accept that, the universe is full of change, that the universe is, full of wonders. And for folks like me, I believe that, you know, um, if you put it out there in the universe, that somehow eventually you can get what you need or get what you want or however that works. Now, some people want it right away, but you know, with things changing in the universe, if you saw the video an hour ago on another my my other video, I'm talking about, um, did anybody feel anything um, this last week when we got bombarded on the East Coast with all that heavy, um, intense radiation kind of thing? And if so, what did it feel like and how do you feel now? Because it messed with me, I'm telling you. And so, and I believe it truly hit because you could see it on the map on the eastern seaboard, and I live on the eastern seaboard, so I got ripped. Um, Let me know how you feel. Um, so if we apparently Avi Loeb kind of brought up about the science of you know and then the other night when I looked around, I was like, what in the hell are these people talking about? And they're talking about that all of space, even outer space, okay, is filled with carbon, and that it's like a no-brainer. So what? Well, carbon is the building block of all things, and the whole it's floating out there in the whole universe. The whole universe is it's got it. You can see through it. We fly around in it. We walk in it. So, but it's there, right? They've seen it. Apparently, they've tested it. Apparently, I don't know if they've talked to it or not. But if they can direct the nanites to do different things, like what? Now you want to worry about AI. This right here just set me up like, oh, fudge. If AI controlled all of the nanites, all the carbon nanites, all the carbon nanites had to do was start swarming together to make whatever was desired to be made under whatever circumstances. Like all the particles would have to agree to become my cigarette, and knowing it was going to get smoked. You know, it's like, oh, holy cow, I become part of this cigarette. Now, what the fudge do I do now? He lit the damn thing. Oh no, my life is over. Ah, yeah, okay. I'm fixing to do that right now. I'm sorry, guys. You can jump ship anytime. I didn't put them there. If there are those of you who want to jump off and become a part of the air, go for it. But that's how creepy this is. We are surrounded by these nanites, and we are supposedly have scientists to talk to them. Otherwise, we wouldn't know who the fudge they were. We wouldn't know that these carbon nanites all around us in the universe, out in space too. I mean, it's not just like here; it's everywhere. Carbon nanites, and they're conscious. Well, in my consciousness, cosmic consciousness, growing up as a little boy down in Tampa, looking out the window at night, staring up at the stars come through the window, and I remember seeing Pleiades would come up first, and then down would come Orion. And so I knew when I saw Orion that it was time for my birthday, which means it was time for fall because my birthday falls on or next to the autumnal equinox. And I think it's this year my birthday is on the autumnal um, equinox, which is like, well, now that's interesting. But so, does it mean anything? I don't know. The planets align, and the time of the was born on that day, and and anybody that was born on that day, then we're blessed with whatever's there. But I consider that every day that someone was born and has a birthday is a blessed day. So I don't consider mine any different, except the date is the the last day of summer and the beginning of fall. So I kind of feel I kind of feel responsible for that. But my dear friends, think of, listen to Avi Loeb again. He's going to be back on, I'm sure. But listen to how he speaks about the intelligence. What is this thing coming in? What is the intelligence, right? The intelligence is the cosmic consciousness with, you know, the, I can't think of the word. I'm getting tired and slap happy is what it is. And so I'm going to wrap it up now. It's been an hour and 27 minutes. I love you all. I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept. You got to accept that all these little nanites are floating around in the air. You got to be able to receive those little nanite thingamajiggies, and we got to learn how to interact. If this is true, we must learn how to interact with all these nanites that are in the universe. And if all these nanites are connected in the universe, in the consciousness, which the scientists say is true, then boy, that's a whole bunch of stuff right there. What can we do? Well, does prayer work? Well, if the world, if the universe's consciousness is within the group, well, I got a mouse in the kitchen. I can't catch him in a trap, but so he's in there right now doing something. I forgot the name again. So, but anyway, we're gonna have to talk to the all of the nanites, and it could be that our attitude, and I would say that it would, if this is true about all the nanites and carbon nanites. There, I remembered all the carbon nanites. If this is all true, then my saying, accept and receive the knowledge and the healing of the universe. So if you accept the healing, it's sort of a thing inside that you go, I believe that the universe has all this energy and stuff and things. Well, now, if it's full of carbon nanites that can communicate in our consciousness and in their collective consciousness, holy crap. So, listen, with this grand theme of things, so here we are, praying down here, praying to God, blah, blah. But so we pray to God, but actually, it's a bunch of carbon nanites that are listening to our prayers. Wait a minute. But where's God? Well, God's been swallowed by the nanites, you know. Wait a minute. Um, think about that. If the universe is and you die and you go, son, bitch, hey, wow, man, there's a carbon nanite. How you doing, buddy? What you doing? And then you bump into one. Hey, mister, what are you doing? Well, I just got here. Wow, nice. Yeah, you look good there as a nanite, all decked out and whatever. But wait a minute. What's that got to do with the price of tea in China? Because on a nanite level, they're doing their nanite thing. And it is like little warriors doing and whatever and moving and such and back and forth. It is like that. And so if we're trying to command something in our universe, I'm trying to command a chocolate cake. Y'all build me a damn chocolate cake now. I want it in the morning, and about now those cobblers that I was talking about, the old man fell asleep there at his work desk and he woke up in the morning and he looked around and the shoes he was looking for that he knew he had to repair. He looked around on the floor and the floor was all clean. All of his tools were put up. The workbench was all clean, and even around him was just like, and it smelled good, and somebody had washed the darn things and the floor and the front door, and it was like, wait a minute, so he stretches, you know, and all them little people are looking, and they're hiding, right? And so as he's sitting up and looking around and starting to wake up out of the corner of his eye, which is where you see the little people a lot from the big folks. You when you look at them directly, they're gone. So it's only out of the corner of your eye. There's some kind of special thingy, and then you can see them. Now, children and other folks can see them, right? So, and I have seen them in smoke and heard them, so I know they exist. But so anyway, so the man wakes up and he sees in the corner of his eye, and for the first time, he's like, "Oh, did you all do this?" And they come out and they allow him to see them. Well, mister, you've never heard us. You knew we were around and you couldn't see us. And we just got together and we could see how tired you were and how weary you are and seeing that you needed to try to get the work done. And we just all decided to pitch in and help. And so he was able to make a lot of money in a short period of time because all of the things that he had were finished. So he could tell his customers, okay, come pick up your stuff. And so he got money in. And other people said, wow, look at the work you did. And so they brought their stuff in. So his business increased. He had to hire somebody to pick up things and to help and stuff. And he started feeling better. He still got help from the little people every once in a while because they love to just come in and help him. But the moral of the story at the end of it is you can start out in this world and not believe. I can't believe, I'll never believe I can make it on my own. You make up some excuse, you know. Folks will do it in a heartbeat and they defeat themselves before they ever get started. And even like me, and later on in life, I tried to get started again and fell flat on my face. And it hurt, let me tell you. And so, but you got to get back up out of the mud, my friends. But as a shaman in training, apparently the energy of meditation, the energy of positive thought. Now, you might, I don't want to talk about negative thought. So you could probably, go that way if you wanted to, but, with the power of positive thought, you can talk to the nanites. So can all of us start talking to the nanites in general? And it will our conversation to the nanites get rippled through the nanite community? Well, would they understand that somebody like me is like, I don't want war. I don't want killing and things. I don't want these atoms, these nanites to have to participate in pooey, bloodletting of Earth's humanity. And I don't know how it works on other planets, but you know, it would be really nice if we were peaceful and that the folks on this planet would quit sticking a stick in the middle of stuff and starting trouble. So if we didn't have these people go around and put a stick in and stir shit up, the world would be a lot better off. Now, my proposition is simple. We keep an eye out for them crazies. We all have to become more aware. All of us have got to become more aware. And guess what? If we all start to think alike, it will be a calming effect to the universe that we're in. If my vibration is the same here in the house and down here in the swamp, and I'm walking along in the swamp, and I'm relaxed. I'm not worried. I know to keep an eye out for snakes and stuff, and I got my stick, and there ain't nothing in the world to worry about. I just on a walk, right in the woods. I know it. It's easy. Other people, not so much. So what they got to do is they've got to be able to judge where they walk. Don't step on a snake over there. You know, don't don't walk into that tree. Boom. You know, stay on the trail. And but these nanites, if we get to know them, and if we can put good energy into it, because good energy works better than the other. Um, so we put good energy into what we want to use as a solution, and so that means we can achieve great things. Convince the nanites to not participate in um, in bad things. Like maybe it would only work like here. I got somebody that's trying to do something. They're trying to get in and they want to hurt somebody here, and I'm no, I'm going to keep them out. And they want to take the children. No, we don't want that. So we're sitting here in protection mode, and we're waiting on folks to come in and do their nasty right. So talk to the carbon nanites that are in front of you, which talk to the nanites around you, not just, directly in front, kind of spread that around. Talk to those folks and see if they can't do something, meaning um, the carbon, you know, the carbon's the sentient being. The carbon nanites are, they apparently talk to folks. So, what are they saying and what do we do? What's our future in this? If the whole universe, the whole space is full of carbon, um, carbon nanites, the whole universe is covered in carbon nanites. Space is not empty like they told us when I was a kid. So, what we need to do is continue to thank the Great Spirit because the Great Spirit is involved with all of the nanites. All of the nanites are the Great Spirit. Think about that one. So I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you can continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. Now, there are folks who would go pish posh. You can't receive any information from the universe. Well, now that I know there are little nanites all around me, if I want to know something, because I've gotten information from the universe before, I'm something, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And I get a download, and it's like, no, don't worry about it, son. And then later on, it was true. So I have gotten to accept a certain voice in my head and how he speaks. That if he tells me something, I'm like, okay, okay, all right, coach, thank you. That's how I feel, and it could be a coach, from somebody else. But so all of these nanites are around me. So if I send a prayer to the universe, I'm sending it to the nanites, right? So I get to know the nanites real well, and I start speaking to them and start. That's why the Buddha was like the incense and everything because everything is connected. How is it connected? Apparently through carbon nanites. So the idea that we are all connected in stuff, oh, well, apparently it is. And so that rock that's coming in from another solar system, I was like, man, just blah, blah. But now that I understand what they're talking about the consciousness that came with this rock, it's from somewhere else. Yeah, it just looks like a rock. Yeah, uh, but it came from another solar system. It came from between solar systems. What the hell? Does that mean there's another solar system relatively nearby where it got slung out of, and you know, it's not it is where did people jump in this thing because the planet was being destroyed? Are they folks that are looking for something? Who knows? But apparently you can talk. It's like talking to the ocean. So if I was in San Diego, California, I could talk to the ocean which is, nanites too. But I could talk to the ocean, theoretically. I could talk to the ocean and send my message through the water and through the nanites. And if wanted to send it, zippity doodah, well, then, point, get there. And so it streaks across the universe, across the Pacific, running across the water as fast as it can go. And it gets to the other end. Where's the other end? I don't know. Let's check out Japan. Okay, to Japan. Where in Japan? I don't know. Tokyo. Okay, to Tokyo. So off to Tokyo it goes. So now what? Well, now you have this sentient being right in front of you. In fact, you have it. You sent it, and now it's in Japan. So wow, it's not you. It's a picture of you. It's a feeling of you that was sent. Oh, wow, it would be nice, to have my lover in my arms again. And he's like sitting on the other coast, right? So he's trying to communicate to her that if he can get the money, he's going to get a trip. He's going to come see her, right? But he wants to send a message. So he uses the ocean. Now she knows to listen for the ocean, right? Not for anything specific, but she's been taught to listen to the ocean, so she does. And while she's listening to the ocean, ping, message comes in from her lover. Hey, I'm in San Diego and I'm trying to get there. Wow! So now she's excited. So now she's like, oh. He wants to come to see me. He wants to be here. He wants to, so all that is like, oh, that's good and gravy, right? So, with that said, he has sent his message across the water using the, you know, the nanobites, the carbon nanobites, sent a message and it rippled to China. Now, that's true. This is a true statement. Now, how do we read it? How do we pick it up? And why is this important? I'm having trouble here understanding that when I walk outside and open the door, that all of everything I see, not just on my property, but I mean in front of me and on my property, and oh my God, I go up the hill. There's all of this stuff. It's all over me. I mean, man, I've been bathed in these nanoparticles. Now, what gets me is the other day we got hit by that really strong energy wave. I felt it. I'm telling you, people might shake their fist at me and call me a liar, don't care. I felt that sucker the other day and it was like, God almighty. And so, wonder if anybody else felt it. That's the other video. So, interesting times and interesting things to talk about and discuss. But that the energy, um, the carbon nanonites are the basic of our universe. I have no problem believing that. Okay. So, um, oh, I had a good closing and I forgot. I'm way tired. But so that, oh, everything you need to know, if this is true with these nanites, then the whole bunch of these nanites through the universe know what's going on. They've got the Akashic record. So all you got to do is talk to the you know, these nanites, these carbon nanites, and ask for a history lesson. Think about that. Okay, my friends. I love you. Accept and receive. Okay, until next time. Hawkeye Two Feathers is out of here. If it will turn up. See you later, alligator. So, yep. Bye bye.